Hello, dear students. I, Mrs. Rajashree Naik, welcomes you again in online lecture series arranged by Gokhale Education Society's BYK College of Commerce, Nasik. In the last online lecture, we have covered introduction, trends in population growth, theories of population growth, stages of demographic transition, and expected questions. Today in this lecture, we will study the next part of chapter number 6, population in India. So students, these are the content points which we will be studying in this lecture. Population explosion in India, causes of high birth rate, causes of low death rate, measures to check population explosion, and expected questions. Now students, let us see what do you mean by population explosion. Population explosion is a situation where the growth of population is faster than the growth and development of the economy. Population explosion in India is due to a high birth rate followed by a low death rate. Now let us see the causes of high birth rate. Birth rate continues to remain high in the country on account of this reason. The first reason, illiteracy. Illiteracy is widespread in India. The percentage of illiterates in the country is reasonably high. According to 2011 census, 74.0% of the population is literate in this country. The percentage of literacy among women is much lower, that is 65.5% as compared to 82.1% among men. So long as mass of the population remains illiterate, it cannot be exposed to rational ideas. People will not shed irrational ideas and religious superstitions and will continue to have bigger families even if it causes deprivation and low standard of living. Though the government is carrying the idea of family planning to the rural population and the contraceptives are made available by the family planning workers to villages, response is not encouraging due to lack of education. Most economists are convinced that education alone can change the attitudes of the people towards family, marriage, and birth of a child. Okay, now students, see the next reason. Second reason, universalization of marriage. Marriage is both a religious and social necessity in India. It is taken for granted that every man and woman of marriageable age must marry. Even with the spread of education, the attitude of the people towards marriage remains unchanged at large. Now the third reason is age of marriage. Marriage is not only universal in India, but it takes place at an early age. In India, the legal age of marriage is relatively lower compared to other foreign countries. It is 18 years for females and 21 years for males. Low age of marriage has also resulted in a high birth rate. Now see the next reason. Preference for male child. Most Indians, on account of their religious and social superstitions, desire to have children having no regard for their economic conditions. Hindus in any case must have a son because according to their religion, certain rites can be performed only by him and none else. Thus, many Indian parents are opting to continue having children until they have a son or desired number of sons. This is known as son meta preference. Son meta preference refers to a strong preference among parents for a male child. Due to such religious and social superstitions, people continue to have large families. Now, see the next reason. Joint family system. In India, joint family system is very much common as it conforms to the concrete reality of the time. In cities, however, the process of its disintegration has started. The joint family system induces young couples to have children, though they have not in the position to support them. In a joint family, their economic burden is carried by the earning members. In India, where individual family system has yet to acquire acceptability on a wide plane, disincentives associated with it respect of having a child will not operate in near future. Hence, existence of joint family is also responsible for high birth rate in India. So next reason, dependence on agriculture. In agrarian societies, children have never been considered an economic burden. In India, where techniques of production in agriculture are generally primitive, periods of intense work alternate with the periods of low activity. Harvesting, weeding, and sowing times covering over half the year, and other peaks of productive activity corresponding to an acute need of labor. It is in fact in this period that child labor is required in agriculture, and therefore Indian agriculture is driven by manpower. In India, there is over dependence on agriculture. So more number of children in the family implies more labor force available for field work. Now let us see the next reason. Widespread poverty. Poverty is yet another factor that keeps the birth rate high in developing countries like India. For those who live below the poverty lines, the conditions are so miserable that additional child cannot cause any worsening of the situation. On the contrary, a poor man welcomes further additions to his family as they bring more benefits than cost. The children start working at a very young age and supplement the family income. The poor people have no other economic asset than their own labor and more of number of earners in the family, the more the amount of family earnings. World Development Report 1984 has also noted there are good reasons why for poor parents, the economic cost of children are low and the economic and other benefits of children are high. And having many children makes economic sense. Now, the next reason, lack of awareness about family welfare services. Family planning as an official program was adopted in India in 1952. Okay, students, family planning as an official program was adopted in India in 1952. The program aimed at reducing the annual birth rate. Family planning refers to the planned parenthood. It is a measure in which birth of a child is determined by choice, not by chance. Family planning program was not successful because of social and religious custom, inconsistent policies of the government, lack of education, lack of awareness, and people are ignorant about the program. In short, to reduce the birth rate and to make the family planning program or welfare services a success in India, what is more important is to change the attitude of the people towards the program. Okay, to change the attitude of the people towards the program. This will take place gradually with the economic advancement of the economy. This is why late Prime Minister Indira Gandhi observed that development is the best contraceptive because it is not medical problem, but it is a social and psychological problem. Now, students, let us see the causes of low death rate. Okay, now the first cause, improvement in medical and health facilities. Due to widespread increase in medical and health facilities, epidemics like plague, cholera, malaria, smallpox, TB, etc. have almost been eradicated. A number of health centers and clinics have been set up to guide and assist people in maintaining good health. Medical facilities are made more easily accessible and available. A number of hospitals have been set up. Mobile medical units and the growing number of doctors have mitigated the impact of life-taking diseases. It is claimed that diseases like malaria and plague have been virtually eradicated and thus reducing the incidence of mortality. Okay, now second reason of low death rate, decline in maternal mortality rate. Over a period of time, death rate of women dying during maternity has declined due to improvement in medical facilities. The MMR means what? Maternal mortality rate in India has declined by 68.7% and has come down from 556 in 1990 to 174 in 2015. An average annual decline of 4.6%. Okay. Now, next reason, fall in IMR means infant mortality rate. Due to better medical facilities, there has been a decline in infant mortality rate from 146 per 1000 in 1951 to 64 per 1000 in 2002 and 47 per 1000 in 2011. Improvement in literacy among women has also resulted in better care of infants, and as such, there is a decline in infant mortality rate. Earlier, the incidence of death was more concentrated among children below the age of 1. In fact, a number of children were born dead and few survived. What I said earlier, the incidence of death was more concentrated among children below the age of 1. In fact, a number of children were born dead and few survived. This is described as a high rate of IMR, high rate of infant mortality rate. The situation now is that such deaths among infants are controlled. And this is primarily due to the health care of the mother and the newborn baby. Now let us see the next reason. Increase in literacy. Better education will help the people to take care of their life and the needs of their children in a better way. Education has helped the people to come out of the blind faith, beliefs, and ignorance. Literacy among women is progressing rapidly. Educated women bring up their children with utmost care. This rapidly brings down the infant mortality rate. Working women enjoy better economic status, and as such, they are healthier. Okay, now the next reason, use of nutritious food. Education has created awareness about health and nutrition. Percentage of children and women dying due to malnutrition and ill health was quite high. And these deaths are now brought under control by providing nutritious diet, for example, midday meal program in schools. In other words, we can say that provision of minimum needs, okay? Misuse of nutritious foods is, in other words, we can say that provision of minimum needs. One of the objectives in the 5th five-year plan was to make available to the people their minimum needs such as food, clothing, shelter, health, and education. More food, nutritional diet should take care of health. Effort is being made to provide pure drinking water to improve health and hygiene. These measures tend to prolong life and prevent death. Now, next reason, disaster management. The National Disaster Management Authority, NDMA, was constituted in 2005. This helps to mitigate all types of disasters, thereby reducing the loss of lives. History records the heavy toll of human lives claimed in olden times by the fury of floods, famines, and epidemics. We were then less equipped to combat these natural calamities. However, today, we are better equipped to fight and face them. Our multi-purpose projects, dams, and the network of canal system have minimized the frequency and intensity of floods, famines, and do not completely eliminate their occurrence. Development in transport system, aviation, distribution in food supplies, and medical aid have all been responsible for mitigating incidence of death, and more lives are saved and hence few die. Now let us see the other factors, the factors which are responsible for low death rate, or these are the causes of low death rate. Okay. Now the first factor, education. Second factor, social reform. Third factor, rapid urbanization. Fourth one, improvement in standard of living. Next is publicity campaigns are also responsible for creating awareness among the people. The fact that standard of living has improved is clearly in rising the per capita income. Okay, the fact that standard of living of the people has improved is clearly reflected in rising per capita income. And this clearly shows that people's access to good quality and nutritious food, health and medical facilities, better clothing, and accommodation facilities, etc., has increased, leading to fall in death rate. Okay, so now these are the factors. Now, students, let us see the measures to check population explosion. Okay, now the first one is to control the problem of population explosion in India, the following measures need to be undertaken. Okay, students. Now, number one, or we can say A, economic measures. Economic measures can raise the standard of living of the people and help to reduce population growth. Some of the important economic measures are as follows. Number one, expansion of industrial sector. Number two, creation of employment opportunities. Number three, removal of poverty. And number four, equitable distribution of income and wealth. Now, I will do detailed explanation of all these points. Okay. Number one, expansion of industrial sector. The family size of the people employed in the industrial sector is smaller than that of the people who are employed in the agriculture sector. In the countryside, any number of people can work on the family farm, though some of them will hardly make any contribution to the output. Most of the operational holdings in India are not economic, okay, and can thus provide only subsistence living. The situation demands that some working force should be transferred from agriculture to some other sectors. Industrial workers are aware of the difficulties in getting employment and are interested in restricting the size of their family. Moreover, higher productivity in the industrial sector makes industrial workers conscious of their standard of living. What I said. Moreover, higher productivity in the industrial sector makes industrial workers conscious about their standard of living. They realize that in order to raise their standard of living, they must restrict the size of their family. Okay, now about the second point, creation of employment opportunities, and the third point, removal of poverty. Urbanization is co-commitment of industrialization, but besides industrial development, there can be many other factors which contribute to the growth of urban centers. In order to induce people to migrate from the countryside to cities, the government will have to create job opportunities in these places. Okay, in order to induce people to migrate from the countryside to cities, the government will have to create job opportunities in these places. In this program, if this program is carried out in an effective manner and the migration of rural population to urban areas starts in a big way, it may prove to be a powerful check on the population growth of population. Okay. Now, next point, equitable distribution of income and wealth. Once the poor people start getting basic amenities of life, they will have no economic compulsion to have more children, and their attitude toward the size of the families will undergo change. Okay. Once the poor people start getting basic amenities of life, they will have no economic compulsion to have more children, and their attitude toward the size of their families will undergo change. In the change situation, not only will they become conscious of the number of children they should have, but will also undertake every possible effort to make the life of the children as comfortable as they can. In order to realize their objectives, a drastic change is required in the system of income distribution. However, this may not be possible in the existing social framework, but the minimum that the state can do is to guarantee the right to work and ensure a living wage of everyone. Okay, now students, these are the economic measures. Now let us see the social measures. Population explosion is a socio-economic problem. It is related to illiteracy, superstition, orthodoxy, low status of women, and the following are the social measures. Number one, spread of education. Number two, improving the status of women, and number 3, raising the minimum age of marriage. Okay, now let us see in detail. Number 1, spread of education. Contribution of education in bringing down the birth rate is significant. Education often changes the attitude of a person towards family, marriage, and the number of children he should have. In this country, where family planning program is not much of a success, the experience of the government is that educated people are more responsive to the idea of family planning. Now, second point, improving the status of women. Although the Constitution of India has guaranteed equality between men and women, there is a discrimination in social life, and the position of women is inferior in that men both socially and economically. The discrimination between men and women in the society leads to the growth of family size. Okay, so discrimination between men and women in the society, especially rural area, okay, leads to growth of family size. Many wrong notions are based on false values and are hardly relevant in a modern society. But people will not share these irrational ideas unless the status of women improves. Now, third social measure, raising the minimum age of marriage. Since fertility depends to a great extent on the age of women at the time of marriage, it is necessary that every possible social, legal, and educative measure is undertaken to raise it. In India, due to various factors, including backward social consciousness and lack of education, average age at marriage has been very low. In 1978, the Child Marriage Restraint Act was amended to raise the minimum age of marriage to 21 years for men and 18 years for women, with a view to restrict the rate of population growth. So, students, these are the social measures. Okay, now population policy of India. Population policy was implemented through the following programs. Okay, number 1, family planning program. It was launched in 1952 with the objective of reducing the birth rate. Family planning refers to planned parenthood. It is a measure in which birth of a child is determined by choice, not by chance. Family planning program was not successful due to lack of awareness among the people, false religious beliefs, and inconsistent policies of the government. So, importance of family planning program as a device to control population explosion is not universally recognized. Now, see, what are the aspects of family planning program? Number 1, public information program. Okay, now see, let us discuss the aspects of family planning program. Number 1, public information program. The government had decided to use all media publicity, including cinema, radio, television, posters, and newspapers to publicize the importance of family planning. Once the idea of family planning catches up the imagination of the people, they will themselves voluntarily start practicing it. Okay. Now, second is incentives and disincentives. Okay. Second aspect of family planning program. The government has introduced various schemes under which incentives are being given to those who accept family planning. The government can take a policy decision that preference of employment will be given to the people who accept small family norm. Okay, so what are the incentives? The government can take a policy decision that the preference for employment will be given to the people who accept small family norm. And what is this incentive? Moreover, those who reject family planning may be denied certain facilities. Third aspect is family planning centers. Establishment of family planning centers is an integral part of any family planning program. And fourth aspect of family planning program is research. Research in the field of demography, communication action, reproductive biology, and fertility control has to be given a high priority in any family planning program. Now, the second one is family welfare program. family welfare program was renamed as family welfare program. Okay, family planning program was renamed as family welfare program in 1979. It attempted to integrate family planning services with those of maternal, child health, and nutrition. Now, about National Population Policy 2000. In the year 2000, the government introduced National Population Policy (NPP) to control population and to improve its quality. Some of the important features of NPP, means National Population Policy 2000, are free and compulsory school education up to the age of 14 years. Second, reduce infant mortality rate, means IMR, to below 30 per 1,000 live births. Reduce maternal mortality rate, means MMR, to below 100 per 1 lakh live births. Universal immunization of children against all vaccine preventable diseases. Delayed marriage for girls not earlier than 18 and preferably after 20 years of age. And prevention and control of communicable diseases. And achieve a stable population by 2045. So students, the new population policy does demonstrate the growing concern and commitment of the government. The new population policy does demonstrate the growing concern and commitment of the government. It is also admired for its positive measures without any coercive element. The success of the policy will depend on its effective implementation. The last one is very much important. The success of the policy will depend on its effective implementation. So now let us see the expected questions on today's content. Answer the following. Explain the causes of high birth rate and explain the causes of low death rate. So students, to wind up, I hope that today's lecture will prove beneficial for the preparation of annual exam. Till then, have a great time. And all the best, students. And thank you very much.